these hangars?
This one, oh boy, probably, oh gee, I'd say, probably 1970 on this one here. And this one we probably built 4 or 5 days later. And this one's 3 years old. Yeah. But we'll go down to this hangar down here. This is my glider hangar. I got a motor glider in there. And I built that probably in the 70s.
So you done much glider?
Yeah, I like gliders. Yeah, I got my instructor's rating in gliders. Oh gosh, I don't know, probably 1939 or 40. Yeah.
You said the Germans do a lot of gliders.
Well, they did. See, they took Crete and so on. And boy, it was remarkable what they did. But you see, there was no defense against them. And the United States figured, boy, if they can do that, we better get in the act too. And the United States got Schweitzer and all of there were about 4 different manufacturers that made gliders, from the training gliders to the big Wacos. And the Waco was a troop transport. And they figured they'd do the same thing the Germans did. Only when they weren't in, the Germans had steel bars up in all the fields where they could land and so on, and it was carnage. I mean, it just killed so many of them all the way through, and it was disbanded after that. And that was right around VD Day time.
You know, like in boating, some people like sailboats, and some like motorboats.
Yeah.
In airplanes.
I like gliders. Gliders are a lot of fun, and it's pretty good around here for gliders. We've got enough convective current and so on, and it's soaring. It's kind of fun. I like it, but I don't do as much as I used to.
It's pretty peaceful up there.
It's very peaceful and very nice. Boy, somebody did a tremendous restoration in that airplane. Wow.
Do you have neighbors that park their planes here?
We allow them. We don't park them here, but they come in and out. And then we have transients coming in wanting to go to the museum and so on. But basically they come in here because they're interested in aviation. We're putting up a storage, we run out of storage room here, and they're working on that right now.
Flying is actually a good way to see America.
Oh, it's the best.
You can still see the small towns.
You sure can, yeah.
People are pretty friendly.
They are, and especially it finds the community. Everybody knows where the airport is and know the people pretty well. Yeah. Now you have housing projects next to airports. They're a bunch of bastards. They come in there. The airport's been there for 50 years, and they come in there and try to get rid of the airport. They circulate, and I see that over and over and over. And we have an attorney down here came in a few years ago and tried to give us a bad time, but it kind of backfired on him. Oh, okay. Now this, I haven't been in there very much. This was one of my storage hangars. She's come in here and changed things around.
Wow.
And that's not all set up, I guess. So this is people that build stuff here in the area, I guess. And these are different companies. There's a company that builds that Kodiak airplane. It's a fantastic airplane, Tom Hamilton. And they're out here at the airport. And this is White Lighthouse dressing, made here, and it goes all over the world. It's fantastic. So we do have some of our own company.
I see Clay Lacey was here for your grand opening.
Oh yeah, Clay was here. And this fellow's an astronaut. He just went up. He was the fellow that went up on the telescope and put it all together. Yeah. And
Tex Hill.
Yeah, Tex, that was his last hurrah here. And as he said it would be, and he did. He died a few months later. But he was a good friend for many, many years. Yeah, so we had all, and of course she cut the ribbon out going upside down out here.
That's Patty, right?
Patty, yeah. And
that's a good shot of you.
Yeah, I've known her for many, many years. I didn't know they hit her. I didn't know she was here, so she surprised me on that one, yeah. Yeah, and she came up 14 feet off the ground, uphill in the air with trees, of course, on each side, 200 miles an hour, and cut the ribbon right through the prop. It was shreds, yeah. So that
she's a legend of aviation.
Oh, she's good, you bet. And let's see what we got here.
Now, astronauts and aviators sort of have a relationship too, in a way.
Oh, absolutely, they do, because a lot of them were aviators first. That was always my favorite airplane there, the 104. That was really a great airplane.
Did you fly many of those?
I didn't fly a lot, but enough so that I got to like it. That's not with the tip tanks. Without the tip tanks, they were just fantastic. Of course, you didn't have much fuel. Yeah.
Yeah, we did a biography of a guy named Roy Bates from Arizona. He
Oh, yeah.
Did 104s.
Oh, yeah, it was great. Of course, the Germans got in trouble because they slowed them down too much. I was in masonry for 50 years here a couple years ago, and this is some of the masonry stuff. That was my daddy's Masonic.
He was a Mason?
Yes, he was. He went all the way through. I didn't go all the way through.
So what's that G stand for?
God, in other words, that's our symbol. Everything's in the Mason, in other words, the tools of masonry. And it's all it is a trust among men. And if you know another fellow to be a Mason, if you're going to transgress against him, you tell him first. That's the basic part of it. It's not really a true religious organization like a lot of people think. It's a trust among mankind.
A lot of the founding fathers were Masons.
They were almost all Masons, yeah. And let's see, as I say, I haven't been through here. And here's stuff this is military stuff here. And this is 50 years of masonry here.
There's with the...
Yeah, that was
General
President Bush,
W.
Citizens Award. And let's see down in here it's the CB. And as I say, I always put bigger engines in it. This is a typical CB, but I extended the wings on it. I put a bigger engine in it and made many, many other changes on it. That's a pretty nice airplane.
Now, it's not like the CBs of the Navy. It's a different kind of CB.
No, it's a different CB. This was made by Republic Aviation in 1946 and 47. They made the P-47 World War II, the fighter. And that was a civilian. It was made like a battleship all the way through, but the original ones didn't have enough power in them. But that airplane is a real good rough water airplane because it's strong.
And what was its purpose?
Everybody was going to have one in their house after World War II, but didn't turn out that way. Yeah.
That was the original idea.
This is a propeller they used on 450 horsepower like the BT-13 trainer and so on. And they were short on metal at the time. And they made a wooden propeller, wooden blades on it. And I remember I got one of the first ones, picked it up in Downey. And I took off with it and about shook the damn airplane apart, and I did get back around. But I don't know what happened, but boy, I don't know who checked it out. But I was lucky to have, they probably only made a dozen of those, and I was lucky to get one of those. So they never were really airworthy.
During the original biplanes, they didn't use wood for the propellers?
They were all wood. They were all wood. And then you see they had the metal hub, but this was adjustable propeller. This was an advanced propeller in its day, but they used the wood instead of metal blades. And something they had in here was not balanced. And man, I got a wild ride.
So it's like a car with tires
right.
Balance, right?
And the factory pilots got in the damn airplane. They said enough. Yeah, right after that. And as we walk down through here, we see a different airplane. It's a Harley Davidson with a sidecar on it. I like bikes, as I told you earlier.
Now you said that when you were young, when you had a Harley.
Harley 61. It was a one cylinder, and of course that was before I could legally drive. And I used to go to school and so on, and my daddy built sissy bars on it so I couldn't break my legs if I went down. I never did get hurt on it. And this is a 1950 GMC. I did buy it new originally, and I kept it all these years. I'm a pack rat. Now this is a Piper Cub here, an advanced Piper Cub. This was made in 1981, and it's much modified. And I put a bigger engine in it, went from 150 to 180 horsepower, one of the original, and beefed up the whole airplane inside and so on. In other words, I got it and put 200 hours on it. And they had bad fabric on it, and they had corrosion. So everybody tore them down, which I did. And Piper Aircraft was in financial problems at that time. But tore it all down and rebuilt it and beefed everything up in. And then later on, Weplinger in Minneapolis came out with these amphibious floats. And I'd already beefed up the wings and other things. And this, I think, was probably about the first set, but it's a great airplane. If you want a fun airplane, get this, because it goes anywhere. And I put 60 gallons of fuel in the wings and so on. They all weren't all my modifications of this, but it made one fine airplane.
Where would you have flown that to?
You can go anywhere with it. In other words, it's got pretty good fuel range. They use them up to Alaska and so on, but I have it here. My daughter likes that airplane more than anything else. She flies it the most.
Which plane were you talking about that Howard Hughes flew up there in Vancouver?
In Vancouver, I don't have that anymore, but it was just like this airplane over here, a 185. And the 185, this is the version after the 185. Now, this has got a turbine engine in it, 420 horsepower jet prop engine, and originally it had a piston engine in it. And this thing, boy, with that and the floats and everything, that is one real nice airplane. It's got everything in it. I got autopilots, full IFR, and all of the latest instrumentation and so on. Yeah.
With those floats, you can be really freedom then.
Yeah, you can go anywhere, and it's got a lot of range. I got tip tank fuel in it and so on. And that airplane's got, actually probably 1,100 mile range, which makes it nice. And it's very good. It's another later motorcycle. Then over here, this is a super decathlon. In other words, this is a modern production airplane. And you can do anything. They always kid, I haven't done anything with this. I haven't modified it. I did put an extra airspeed in it. But this is an aerobatic airplane. It'll fly